Yeah.
Yes, look at this.
Hello?
This is so cool.
Oh,
Hello?
I heard somebody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Making me get on Zoom so early. I'm so sorry for the delay. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
Can
If you're in
you
your
give me-
pajamas, we'll forgive you.
No, I'm just coming off of a night shift in my pajamas.
Oh,
My
wow.
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm eating
Mm.
breakfast. Well, ladies and ladies. Nice to meet you guys. Hello, how are y'all?
Not too bad. How are you?
Very good. A little sleepy, but very good.
Yeah, this is kind of an epic day. This is like the first time we've all gotten together. Some of us don't know each other. Some of us are new friends. Some of us are not so new friends. So, should we just start with introductions?
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan.
All right. So, I don't know what order everybody's in on everybody's screen, but let's go. You wanna go alphabetical? Amie, you wanna go first?
Oh no, I knew that was gonna happen.
Or we can go reverse alphabetical.
No, sure. I'm happy. I'm happy to do alphabetical. So.
Okay, go for it.
So my name is Amie. I'm one of the co-hosts and co-founders of the Gritty Nurse podcast, as well as we have our Gritty Nurse apparel line. Also a nurse. Mainly my specialty is in obstetrics, but I've done the whole gamut of maternal child, so peds, NICU, postpartum, clinics, outpatient, inpatient, you name it. And then also doing a lot in quality and risk. So actually doing some quality and risk work in the emergency and infection control. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And I'll probably get Sara to talk about why we decided to do our podcast. But yeah, another fellow podcaster.
And let's grab the alphabetical. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. Sara, why don't you go next since you're also a Gritty Nurse?
All right. So I'm the other half of Gritty Nurse podcast. I've been a nurse for 13 years now, and my background is pretty similar to Amie. So I've done postpartum, NICU, prenatal education, nursing leadership, and most recently I'm in home health now. So I'm working more as like a quality improvement, project management type stuff. And Amie and I actually met 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago and 2 jobs ago. So we met and we worked together for 2 years. And the reason actually we started this podcast is at our previous job, we were really, we were experiencing a lot of bullying from our manager. And so just our experiences from bullying, from like being a frontline nurse to being in nursing leadership, we really thought that we wanted a way to share our experience and kind of help people. So that's how our podcast started, really just out of frustration. And it's grown since then. So we're almost 1 year old, Amie. We're like 11 months.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then we kind of wanted to start the apparel line to further that message and, advocate and have statements and change the conversation. So that's kind of where we're at. And we're so happy that we've met you guys like through different avenues, and we want to continue connecting with other podcasters and really just helping each other rather than eating our young.
Excellent. Absolutely. I need some of that apparel. I need it now. All right. Who's next? Tina, you want to go next?
Sure. I think I know everybody, but I'm Tina Van Zandt. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I started my podcast in May of 2018. So we're going on 3 years now. And I met, I think Adrianne, I think you and I go the farthest back pretty early on. You and I connected. Adrianne had started her podcast before and had her feet on the ground, and she was real encouraging to me and real supportive, and came on my podcast, and I came on your podcast. We kind of it's just been a nice friendship and a real supportive relationship to have somebody else out there that I could see was being successful and just I don't know, doing all the things. And so it kind of helped me to stay motivated. And then I met Q. He reached out to me, I think on Facebook or something. And he sent all these random, hey, I'd like to, us to connect and come on your podcast. And I thought I was special. I'd come to find out I was one of 2,000 people he sent an email out to.
That sounds so cute.
But I was like, yeah, oh my gosh. I looked up his videos on YouTube and I was like, oh my gosh, he's hysterical. This is funny. I could not wait to meet him. And then he came on and then get to meet you guys. This is right up my alley. I love, lots of people and support. I feel like the more people like this, especially like-minded people, I feel like we're all pretty like-minded for the most part. So I'm excited about it.
And yet we all bring this like different and beautiful perspective because we're all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Including Q down there. He's down in my corner. I don't know where he is for you guys, but Q down in the corner, out on the West Coast.
Hey.
Tell us about yourself.
Well, gritty ladies, the gritty nurse ladies. Hello. It's nice to meet y'all. Okay. I just
finally connect.
Yeah, I had to Google. I just Googled it. And Tina, I'm sorry. Adrianne, I'm with you. The long sleeve black one with the sign on the back, hook me up. And the fact that you guys fact that you guys have the male nurse with the big muscles. Oh shine, yeah. Shine. I'm in there. Anyways, real quick, I'm the wild one. I'm crazy. Thank you guys. Seriously, I love being here. Per usual, there's one male nurse, but I'll take charge. I'll take responsibility. I'm just a travel nurse. I traveled a few places on the East Coast, and now I'm on the West Coast. I dabbled with podcasting here, some YouTube there. I'm enjoying myself. I'm having fun being a nurse, and that's me.
Welcome. Yeah, you've been on the interwebs for. I feel like you had been pumping out content long before I created my podcast. So you were like a little inspiration to me. I was like, if he can do this, I'm getting in on this because this looks like fun. You make it look like fun. Like you're like man on the street question videos. Those were fun. I think that was what wrote me in. So and I am Adrianne. I live in Iowa. I am a pulmonary step down and palliative care nurse. We also take med-surg, so I kind of do a little bit of everything. And I've been a nurse for 4 years. I was a nursing assistant for like 12 years before that at the University of Iowa. And I love that hospital. We're currently kind of experiencing some challenges, but I love my team. And I started the podcast in 2017 just because I love podcasts. I've always loved podcasts and radio. And I wanted a podcast that was about like what it's like to be a nurse, not the pathophys, not the meds, not the, I wanted something that was like, what do I do when I sweat all shift long? What do I do when I'm terrified before work? What do I do when I get to work and it's an absolute shit show, pardon my language? Those were the kinds of things I wanted to see. So that didn't exist at the time. So I made it. And now I'm so excited because it used to be that I subscribed to like 5-6 podcasts and they were mostly academic. And now when I want to tell people, well, what nursing podcast do you subscribe to? And I'm like, get a pen and sit down because I got a list. Yeah. And not just nurses, but like nurse practitioners and physicians and PAs and social workers. And I'm really amped this morning. I had my coffee already, but this is great. And we don't even know what this is going to turn into. This is like very experimental, but here we are and we're doing it. So yeah. We want to talk about some stuff, right? And we're going to try to keep it spicy. So let's talk about stuff. Should we dive in? What should we do?
Sure. What topics do we want to hit today?
So I've got a list, and we kind of all looked at the list. But
can I just say, you guys, that Insta's chat, bro. I have a group chat with my nursing high school friends, with my buddies at work. You guys are wild. Too much. I can't keep up.
You're too wild. I can't believe you're this much energy after a night shift. Honestly,
I'm about to pass out. Trust me. My eyes are droopy. But anyway,
I think the more tired he gets, the worse that is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like that second wind that you get before you crash.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep him as long as he can, and then slowly when he starts to do this, we'll maybe give him some
like,
mercy
bye.
And let him go to bed. But I'm a fellow night shifter. I only worked till midnight last night, and then I slept for like 4 hours, and then I went back in and had my N95 mask fit. And speaking of, should we do a little COVID update? Because we're like in the throes of, we're a year in to this COVID thing, and this can be like our record in time of what's going on. So yeah, let's talk about this. I don't want to go first because I'm talking a lot. So somebody tell me what's the COVID sitch?
Can
I'll
I
throw out
start?
the number. Yeah, go ahead, Q.
All right, perfect. Because look, listen, it hurts my soul. You guys, I'm in a very bad place right now. I'm a traveler, so I came all the way from the East Coast. Home for me is Boston. I came to California. So I don't know what the rules are for each state. I had a full plan to go back and visit Mama Dukes, the fam, the entire crew. But now I found out that if I fly into Boston or I don't know if it's fly in, or fly out, but either way, I'm gonna be doing both to go visit the family. I would have to do a 2-week self quarantine,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I can't do that because my assignment won't let me do that. But listen, this COVID situation is scary as fuck. All right, it's the scariest thing in the world. The second you think it's over, things start to scare you. People start to get sicker. They start shipping people over to your floor. It's a problem. I know where I'm in the Bay Area in Oakland, in California, and here the numbers say that they're going up, but all of the hospitals, the patients that we're getting, and I don't want to say this because in the beginning of COVID, people looked sicker. People look a little less sick. I don't know if that sounds wild. I don't know if people are dying. People look less sick where I'm at, and we're not giving them any legit medication. I forgot what the medication I used to give in Connecticut was. It was like a viral. Have you guys taken care of COVID patients? I mean, you must have, right?
Is
Yeah,
it
I have.
remdesivir or yeah?
Or Dex.
There was a couple of medications that we were giving in Connecticut that we're not doing anything here in California, like nothing. It's just like, we're going to treat the symptoms. We're going to give them a breathing treatment if they need to. We're going to vent them if they get to that point. But our COVID patients now are just hanging out in a COVID room and that you have to dress up and take care of them for. But that's just here in California. And by the way, I've only been working here for a month, so I don't know the exact details. But that's my 2 cents in the COVID situation here.
Yeah, maybe I'll just throw out, so 250,000 deaths in the US, right? That's not a good look. It's like I shouldn't say down here, we're up in the great north in Canada going, what the fuck is happening out there? Like, what are you guys doing? But it's not any better here, right? Like, our numbers, it's not much better here. Like, we don't have the same numbers in terms of population size. Like, I think you guys have 300 million and we have something like 30 million. So like, our numbers are much smaller, but like, we're facing and battling the same issues. Fauci came out yesterday and was like, Canada, like, what are you trying to follow our trajectory? And we're like, no, we're not. But like, we're not doing much better out here. And right now we're in a discussion of like, what are we going to do? Christmas is coming up. Is there going to be a lockdown? So there's two sides to the coin. People are concerned about the economy, but people also are concerned about their loved ones and whether people are going to die. And we are seeing that like our death rate is starting to go up again. So it's just kind of like, I think we still haven't really got it figured out yet. So
Yeah, and just to add on to what Amie's saying, I live in Toronto. So in Ontario, at least, they've designated, they have a color scheme now. So I'm in a designated red zone. It's like no go, you can't do indoor dining, no gyms, no fitness classes, like nothing. But the thing is, I think people are just suffering from fatigue. And it's like the shock value of COVID has worn off, at least where I am. So it's like, yes, we know we're in COVID, but it's been for us almost 9 months and people are just tired. Like, we're just trying to figure out how to get through the day. And I mean, like, even just on the weekend, there was someone had rented out a storage facility and had a party with hundreds of people. And this person only got fined $750 by the police. And if you think about how many people could have gotten COVID from that party and spread it, I just feel like the different levels of government here aren't taking it seriously enough. Like, I know that maybe we're doing a little bit better, but I think things can change rapidly. And I'm super stressed about the fact that schools might be closing again. So that's where I'm at.
Are you homeschooling?
I'm not right now. My kids are 2 and 5, so it's super challenging to homeschool at that age, I think. And, trying to work full time and homeschool and watch a little kid that's running around is not easy. So, I mean, it's hard for everyone. I really feel for everyone.
Yeah. Tina, what's it like where you are?
The thing is, that's driving me crazy is exactly what Sara was saying about the COVID fatigue that everyone is experiencing. I just keep hearing people say things that are really ignorant, because I understand the COVID fatigue. I have it myself, and I literally work with these people. But I don't think that people are. It's like no one's talking about the deaths and what's really going on. These people are sick, but the nurses on the COVID unit are just worn out. They're absolutely worn out. So when I hear people talk about COVID fatigue, and I don't, like I said, I understand, I get it, but I wish that people would talk about the fact that it is getting worse. It's not getting better. It can get worse. I mean, it can get better, obviously, with the vaccine and with better treatment, and that's coming around the corner, I guess. This is becoming a reality, but we're not there yet. And it's just, there is so much on so many people right now, and this area is really bad. And I mean, what you were just talking about, renting out a space and having a party, people are doing things like that all the time, and they don't think anything of it. And meanwhile, nurses are. I just saw something on social media talking about a nurse that ran into a COVID patient's room without an N95 because that person was coding, and she just ran in there, and then she died. So, I mean, of COVID. People just put their lives at risk constantly to take care of people, and nobody seems to appreciate it. It's like, yeah, but I'm sick of wearing a mask, and I'm and the thing is, here's another thing that kills me is people that are like, well, a lot of these people have comorbidities, and they're older people, and they were probably going to get something anyway. It's not true. Yeah, those people are there too, but there are a lot of people. I'm 47 years old. I would be the type of person who would get this and end up on a ventilator in the hospital. And I don't have any comorbidities, but you don't have to have a comorbidity. I mean, a comorbidity could be you take lisinopril every day for blood pressure, which I don't take anything like that. But I mean, what are you saying? Somebody who is in their 30s or 40s that takes a blood pressure pill, it's okay for them to catch COVID and die on a ventilator? Because that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about everybody in their 90s. And if you had like 6 months more to spend with someone, I don't care if they're 10 or 110, it's still, you're taking their life away from them. I don't get it. I just don't get all of the way that everybody is just so, I'm just so over it, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. I understand the fatigue, and you complain about an event, but don't take your freaking mask off and just do whatever the hell you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
So I first want to say that I feel like I've been mourning like the loss of my normal life for the last many months. And I am currently in the stage of blinding anger because I live in Iowa, specifically Iowa City. We are one of the global hotspots for COVID. I am going to try to abstain from politics and F-bombs, though most of what I want to say is geared towards that. But we have a governor who is in Trump's pocket, and we even have pictures of them like kissing each other during this pandemic. So like it's literal. But she won't issue a mask mandate. We've been demanding it for ages. My city is a blue dot in a bright red hemorrhaging colored state. And same, personal liberties are looked at as paramount. As my facility, which is a level 1 trauma center, we have, last total I saw was over 90 COVID patients. We have maxed out our 25 bed MICU. SICU is full. We have started, I've heard they've been housing COVID patients in the PACU, the post anesthesia care unit. Our hospital is putting in more and more, they're converting more and more step down unit beds into negative pressure rooms for COVID patients. I just got an email, like literally just like minutes ago, that said we are going from phase 1 of our surge plan to phase 2. And what phase 1 is, not to get too in depth, but phase 1 is we've started having clinic nurses come back to the bedside. There are nurses that haven't worked the bedside in months, but now they're taking sick patients. We have limited all of our visitors. So if you're not dying, you can have one person for 2 hours each day. And the time is after lunch so that people aren't tempted to want to go to the cafeteria. And if you are a dying patient, you can have 3 people per 24 hours. Some people can't get here because they're ill. We had a patient that was on the unit for days, and then, we discovered that their family member was walking around with COVID. It's bad. And we are seeing patients that have a lot of comorbidities, but they're getting sick because they didn't seek treatment when all this started because they were scared to come to the hospital. So we have all these sick COVID patients, but then we have all these patients that are just sick with their regular stuff, fluid volume overload, DKA, people that have pneumonia, all sorts of stuff. And then the COVID patients that are coming to me from the ICU when they're recovering are trached. They've been proned and supinated a number of times over the course of weeks. Because they're trached, they then have feeding tubes. A lot of them have rectal tubes to catch their liquid stool. I mean, I'm getting blunt here because I'm effing fed up. And we are wearing PPE. We all are, like, I'm a migraine sufferer. I haven't had a shift without a headache since this started. And my partner and I, because we both don't want to get sick, because we can't quarantine from each other in this space. We have a small apartment. So I haven't seen my mom since March. She lives 15 minutes away. We don't see our friends. We don't eat out. We get all of our groceries curbside. We don't go anywhere that is not absolutely necessary. And this is how I've been living since March. And still the numbers climb. People are getting sicker. I'm at risk of being sent to ICU, which scares the crap out of me. And furthermore, if I have a patient that's tanking, I don't have an ICU to send them to. So now I'm a step-down nurse with 4 patients, one of whom may be needing 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 care. So I am, if anybody follows my Insta over the last several days, it's a lot of like, I don't give a shit what you think. Put on your fucking mask. Wash your hands. Don't go to grandma's house for Thanksgiving. It sucks. Yeah, it does. But you know what? I'm tired, and phase 2 is coming, and I haven't even read the email yet, so I don't know even fully what that means, but it means less non-essential surgeries. It means fewer appointments for people who need it. And I'm tired. I'm not even full-time. So that's where we're at in Iowa. So if you're in the Midwest and you don't like what I'm saying and you want to go to the grocery store and all over the place, I'm not on your side. So sorry, that's the pessimistic, angry girl, but that's where I'm at, and it's very real, and I think we need to be talking about it because we're these like virtuous nurses that care for everybody and love everybody. Yeah, I do love everybody, but when I see on a patient's chart that they got COVID at a wedding, sorry, I'm angry. So okay, I'll put my anger down. I'll set
No,
it aside.
don't put it down. I think, Adrianne, I think you speak to a lot of really important points. And I think one of the things that I kind of want to attack is the whole fact that people just don't believe or don't understand the severity and gravity of what's happening. Like, I have my father-in-law, he doesn't believe, like he talks about it being a pandemic. He doesn't believe that it's actually that bad. Like, my brother and sister-in-law, they're in Ohio, and they both have COVID right now. So my sister-in-law's had it for probably, I guess, 11 days, and about 14 days, and she's kind of getting over on the better end. And my brother is probably about 11 days in, but he's actually not doing very well. So he went back and went to the hospital. They're flooded in Ohio as well. And essentially they said, oh, you also have pneumonia. Well, here in Canada, COVID, pneumonia, we'd be like, okay, you know what? Like, we're going to admit you. Well, they didn't admit him. They sent him home and they're like, here's some antibiotics. Come back when you can't breathe. And it's like, what? And then even on our family chat, one of our family members were like, are you sure it's not like a really bad flu? No, like my brother's a relatively healthy person. The fact that he woke up and was struggling to breathe and had a positive COVID swab would mean that no, it's not just a really bad flu. And it's just getting people to actually believe. And it's like, I think this is great. I'm glad that we're doing this because I think more nurses need to speak out on what they're seeing and need to be telling people like, this is not a joke. Like, we are suffering. We're here for you. We're caring for you. We want to be there for you. But now it's time to actually listen to us when we're saying that there are people dying. It's hindering and taking down every effort we have in terms of trying to keep a sustainable system. And we're sick and tired. We're tired of telling the people the same thing. Wear a mask, wash your hands, wear a mask, wash your hands. And people just aren't listening. I think we're getting to the point where we need to be fed up and we need to be loud.
Yeah, I had someone that I don't even know this person, but you know how people are connected with you on social media, but she posted something like, you're not going to tell me who I can gather with for Thanksgiving. And that was her take on it. It was like, I have a right to get together with my family if I want to, if you don't want to do it, then you don't do it.
It's just
and
willful ignorance.
That's just her take. You know, it's like, and people are saying things like, well, I would rather take the risk and be with my family and live my life than to spend a year or two not connected with anyone and causing they're saying things like, you know, it's causing other problems, it's causing depression and anxiety and other issues.
But you know what? If you think you just want to take your risk and ride the COVID, I say sign an advance directive and don't come to the overwhelmed system because you knew better. So, you know, you don't want to listen to medical advice. Why do you want our advice now that you're not breathing? Oh, now you want to listen to us? Now you want our help? I saw a meme the other day that said, nurses are not your first line of defense anymore. We're your last line of defense. So if you're not going to listen to us now, then you're putting a lot of trust in other people that they're not going to get you sick. So I really hope that you, when you think about this, well, I'm going to do whatever I want. You do that. And then the consequences are yours because we're busy. My unit is full. We have people waiting for beds. We have people housed in our emergency room for 12, 16, 18 hours waiting for a bed. You know, we have patients that are my age and younger that are sick. They're having months of recovery and they were healthy and they were like, oh, no big deal. I thought I was going to be fine. And now they're writing me on a whiteboard because they're ventilated through a tracheostomy.
People have been paralyzed because of it.
Yeah, we don't know anything about this. We know enough that we're kind of making progress, but we don't know what long-term effects are. One of the people that I know that had COVID early on, she's having heart arrhythmias now. She has no cardiac history. She has zero cardiac history, and she's having ongoing cardiac issues after her bout with COVID. She hasn't felt right since. How do we say, like, oh, I'll take my chances? You don't know what those chances are. You don't know.
So this is insane. And first of all, I'm sorry, okay? Because I feel like I was just when I was in Connecticut, like really close to New York, that's when the COVID hit me really hard. So when I came over here and things were lighter, I thought that we were over the hump like the rest of the world. Not, I thought Canada was part of that, but I'm sorry you're joining us. Maybe we have people going up your way. But yeah, we're not over the hump. And the thing is, the fatigue that Sara I think was mentioning earlier, the thing with me is it's not so much the actual hospital taking care of COVID patients or seeing the wildness outside, because I live in a blue place and people are pretty good about wearing masks and only dining outside, and people are really good out here about that stuff. When I turn on the news and when I see the ticker of just COVID deaths, COVID patients, COVID whatever, I don't know if I'm looking at the stock market or these are human beings. I don't know what I'm looking. It's just, at some point it stops being human beings and it just becomes the news people talking about numbers like they talk about numbers, which kills me. I don't know what that zoning situation is in Canada, but I think it's a necessity here in the States, and it's so hard to do it in the States because, like you said, in Iowa, you guys are just living life like it's free. Knoxville, you might be a little bit better, and in California, people are really, really good about their distancing. So I think we need to take a little bit of that to bring it on over here. But
yeah, I think we've also talked a lot about the hospital situation, but in Canada, it's really bad in our long-term care homes. So back in April, my grandmother actually passed away from COVID in a long-term care home. We couldn't visit her at all. So no visitors. So I know, Adrianne, you just mentioned that if there's a dying patient, you can have 3 visitors per 24 hours. It was 0 visitors. My grandmother died alone. And yes, she was old. She was 106, but her life still meant something. And when we were having her burial, we were still under restrictions of less than 10 people. So there was literally nobody with her when she died. We don't even know what happened. And then for the burial, there was 5 of us. And, we still haven't been able to get together, and it's been really upsetting. She was the backbone of her family. And I really think she could have lived much longer if it wasn't for COVID. Like, she wasn't even on any medications. She was walking. She was independent. Like, she might have had some long-term or short-term memory loss, but she was totally with it the whole time. And so I think people need to know that it's really bad in long-term care homes too.
The thing is, with our elderly, people talk as though once you've accrued a certain number of years, like, whatever, if they die, it's
Yes.
whatever.
Thank you, Adrianne.
But here's the thing. And someone once, I can't remember where I heard this, but someone once said, you get to be old by avoiding death in so many ways. So
every single year,
if you make it to 106, you deserve every minute that you can have because you've made it this far with the choices you've made and the way you've lived your life. So I feel that those people that are 106 should be protected just as ferociously if they want to be. Of course, there are issues with patients that have like different levels of functionality, but if she's walking, talking, living her life, being happy, being around her family, before all of this, why should she be any less valuable than you or I?
And if you think about it, she survived the Spanish flu. She lived through that, right? And so she made it this far, and to have to go at this time, I actually think that the situation right now in long-term care is so bad that I'm almost not, I don't want to say relieved, but I think that if she had made it, she would not be in any better place now because the restrictions are back again. I never expected the second wave to come so fast or go so high, but like every day I'm looking and they're having to increase the number at the top of the charts because it just keeps going higher. You know what I mean? And here in Canada, we still haven't hit the peak, I don't think. We're just probably at the top now, but it's not any better. And I think that it only takes a small number of people to not follow the rules to make things worse. So I know that I feel like at least where I live, most people are following, but the small percentage of people that aren't are driving that number up.
Yeah.
Can I just play devil's advocate real quick? So for people who are being good, are we saying just straight out, like, it needs to be straight up mandated, masks everywhere, like hardcore lockdown until shit turns around? Like, that is the answer? Is that literally what we're saying? Because the rest of the world, specifically in America, is going to say, fuck that. And look, listen, I'm a nurse. I hear y'all. I feel you. but no one, and I say no one in America is going to take that and be like, okay, I hear you.
But I think I hear you, Q, and I think people need to understand that this is a snapshot in a period of time to kind of get this managed. Like we're not asking people to do this for the rest of their lives. I think if that was the case, then yeah, I'd be kind of like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to get back to some sense of normalcy. But I think because we're asking people for a short period of time to say, yes, you know what, so we can understand what's happening, so we can get this under control, wear your mask, wash your hands, try to maintain social distancing. I don't think we're asking too much. Like I just don't feel like it's this huge thing that we can't just try to do, even if it's for 3 months, 6 months. We're not asking people to do this forever. We're just kind of saying, okay, we have a huge problem here. We don't know much about it. Let's try to do these various different things, because we see that the science does show if you wear your mask, you hand sanitize, and you keep that distance, that those numbers will decrease. I think people have to realize that this is a short-term, it's a short-term situation, and to turn that around, we have to try to do something different. If we go back to exactly how it was, and I wish we could, trust me, because I want to go back to jiu-jitsu. I used to train, and of course, anything you think of, like martial arts, I'm like rolling with people, there's sweat dripping all over. I want to get back to that. I want to be choking bitches out. I want to do that. I can't do something I love that kept my mental health, kept me sane, but I know I'm protecting my mom, my twin boys, somebody on the street that I don't know. I know I'm not being a selfish asshole. I think that's what I'm trying to boil it down to. I'm saying, okay, I am trying to do this for the greater good. And if it's for a short period of time, let's do this so we can kind of move on with our lives and get back to that sense of normalcy.
The thing is, we could have been done with this by now if we had done that in the
I
first
think
place.
so too.
People are bitching
Exactly.
that it's taking forever. It's taking forever because there's so many people that are like, I can't hear you. I'm not listening. It's like something else that I saw. Sorry, I'm like the meme queen spitting stuff here. But someone said like we're all getting more detention because a bunch of kids won't pay attention
Exactly.
and step down in the first fucking detention. Sorry. I don't know if we determined if this was like all language, but we're gonna have to like put some beeps over me. Sorry.
That's all good. No.
You know? I was empathetic and kind back in June, back in July, back in August.
Yeah, I think we're done with pleading. We're done with being like, please, please. Like now it's just like, are you fucking kidding?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
what else can we do?
And I don't have the solution, but I know that like the last couple weekends there were like 50 people tailgating and playing drinking games in the yard down the street from me because Iowa decided that we still have to have football. Sorry, I'm not a football fan. I don't want to get all the Iowa fans mad at me. I want you to be able to tailgate. I want you to be able to do that, that stuff that you want to do. But we could have been back to normal, and so instead they're just doing what they want, hanging out on porches, getting drunk. That's part of why I'm so angry, because it's just like a spit in my face as I'm driving to work with my PPE in tow to go sweat it out. I came home one morning and took my mask off, and my partner goes, wow, you're really shiny. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm shiny.
That's a nice way to put it.
Well, we've got a great rapport. Like, I would rather him, be honest than to be like, oh, my beautiful love. It's like, yeah, I look rank right now. It's okay. You can say it. I know it. But yeah, we're all suffering while people are partying. And I'm like, when people invite me, well, it's okay. Just we'll distance. We'll just do. I haven't seen my mom since March. Why do you think I'm going to suddenly break my rules for you? Like, if I'm going to break my rules, I'm going to go give my mom a hug. But I can't do that because I don't want to get her sick. I want to protect her. So the next question is, let's shift this conversation. Tell me if you guys want to talk about this. Would you, first round, as healthcare providers, where do we all stand? And we're going to respect each other's opinions. We can disagree, but are you getting the vaccine? First round. They come to you tomorrow and they say, we have the COVID vaccine. We have the data to share with you that you can read about. We have all of the information you need, which you may or may not have. I don't have the stats. Do you do it? Do you take it?
Do we have to do this alphabetically again?
Jump on it. Amie, you got something to say. I know it.
Oh no. You know what? I am not anti-vax. Like I want to say that right off the hop. I am not anti-vax because I'm vaccinated. All my kids are vaccinated. I don't anybody who says anything about those stupid things and saying, "Oh, people get autism." No, that's BS. I'm not anti-vax. Now, with watching what has been unfolding in the last 4 years in the administration in the US, they haven't really put a lot of confidence in me or inspired confidence in me in terms of being honest. I understand, and truth be told, pharmacy companies aren't, not that they're dishonest, it's just obviously they have an agenda too. Do I think if tomorrow it was ready, would I take it? I think might be hesitant, but in all honesty, if I think it might do something, I probably would get it. I know that sounds crazy, but I probably would do it just to say, hey, you know what? I think people are trying to do the right thing here. If this is going to prevent one more death, I think I might go for it.
Who's next? Hot seat.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm just gonna say, like, I would roll up my sleeve and I'd be like, give it to me, because I know that there are uncertainties with the vaccine. I feel like there are more uncertainties with getting COVID. Like, as we're continuing to discover all these long-term effects, I don't want to have heart issues. I don't want to permanently lose my sense of taste or smell, or God knows what else is going to happen. And I understand that people have their reservations, but I do feel like whatever there have been a lot of safeguards in place. That's why there's only been 2 front runners so far. And with the research they put into it, I'm willing to take that small chance that it may not be effective as a potential side effect, but I would definitely get it. And I'm actually even surprised at the number of people I've talked to, both healthcare professionals and not, who say they wouldn't get it. And that's kind of what concerns me, because even if we do have this vaccine that's 95% effective, let's say, if only half of people get it and it's only 95% effective, then it's really only maybe protecting less than half the population. And it also concerns me with how it's going to be rolled out, like who's going to be prioritized and how they're going to get it to them. And I know there's also been questions about it has to be kept at a certain temperature, which is colder than other vaccines. So how is that going to affect how effective it is? But yeah, I would say, sign me up. I would get it.
Q?
I even saw you rolling your sleeve up.
Decide, whatever.
It's the universal protest symbol.
I would definitely get the vaccine. The only thing is, it's because what you hear these pharmaceutical companies do are saying, like, we got to get this expedited, which, yeah, great, let's do that because we need it. But that also means we're skipping a few steps. What steps are we skipping? Let us know. Right? So
yes,
those are the questions and answers I need, right? I mean, those are the answers I need. But I'm definitely, Sara, Amie, I like you gritty nurses already. I feel
all right.
I'm right there. I'm right there with you.
I'll try to throw some links in the description because I'm just looking up stats here. So I personally would totally take it, because this study, the Pfizer study alone, has had 45,000 participants, and the flu shot each year, we're not doing 43,000 participants for the flu shot. Right. And I don't necessarily think we're doing the process skipping steps. We know how to formulate a vaccine. This is an mRNA thing, messenger RNA. So, that's a little scary, but we've been messing with messenger RNA in other ways for a long time. So we're applying sciences that are not, it's not like they're like, oh, how do I make a vaccine? Like, there are certain things that are already established about vaccines. And so I think that the way that this has been rushed, I don't think it means that they're like being sloppy, skipping steps. I think it means that they're working faster and harder than ever before. And I know Pfizer didn't take any money from the government, but these are multi-billion dollar, I think. I'll have to check my stats, but these companies have tons of money. And so if they want to shift all of this into research and have their whole crew working on this, they can do that. As far as like the temperatures, I think that's a huge challenge. We need to figure out how to make it more stable at a temperature, because it's like ridiculously cold.
It's like minus 80 degrees or something
Yeah.
crazy like that.
But a lot of people have said that the first line of defense with these vaccines is getting them to hospitals where we can have frontline workers and people that are being repeatedly exposed, long-term care, the places where we are seeing hotbeds, prisons, like places where we have no choice but to keep people in tight quarters.
Right.
And so it doesn't even mean that the general population is going to have it, which means that we still have to keep relying on these methods we've been talking about: washing hands, wearing a mask, not spitting all over the place. Have you guys ever, tell me, have you ever been talking to a friend and you're like really animated and you're like laughing and you go, oh shit, I just spit. Sorry, dude. We've all done that because that's what happens when you talk. And so anybody who says like, oh no, I never spit. Well, you are so damn demure. You should teach the rest of us how not to do that. So I think that the vaccine, I will get it as a healthcare provider in a heartbeat, but I'm also going to read the study. You know, I'm going to read the inserts. I'm going to read that consent form really well. And it's true. I would rather take the risk with a vaccine created in a lab with people who know what's in it than to take my risk with a virus that has so much uncharted information, consequences, and future problems that we don't even know about yet. So those are my 2 cents. I will roll up my sleeve as well. I'm surprised. So far, everybody said yes. In the forums on Facebook, people are saying like, hell no.
Yeah, and that's what's concerning is a lot of healthcare providers are saying no. So I think we need to get on that. But Tina, we didn't hear you. Cricket.
No, I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm going to be the one person.
You can disagree. You're allowed.
I know. Well, and I think it's healthy to do that. So there's a few reasons why I'm hesitant. I'm not saying I'm not going to get it or anything like that, but I'm scared of it because, for one thing, I've always been like, give me my flu shot, you know, like, and bang it over the head with it. Or, you know, everybody's, you know, like, get your flu shot. Like, why wouldn't you get your flu shot if you can? I got my flu shot a few months ago. I had an adverse reaction, and it scared the crap out of me. I never even thought about it. I was at working in the middle of a shift, and I had a student following me, and we went over, and he gave me my shot, and it was like, I was like, what the hell? I was like bleeding out. I was bleeding out. I'm like, why am I bleeding like this? And then so all the nurses, all the CVICU nurses are coming over, and I'm just like, are y'all gonna do compressions? And you know, like, we were laughing about it. Didn't think anything of it, got up and started working, and then all of a sudden my throat was like really scratchy, and like sore, and I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I've got COVID. Like, that was the first thing I thought, because it hurt so bad, and it just came out of nowhere. And then I'm talking, I didn't say anything to anyone, and my student was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on, but my throat is really sore. And obviously he could hear it, you know? And I said, I don't feel good. And my eyes started like hurting. And I think what happened is they were like drying up. I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but it was painful, really painful. So I was sitting down charting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not getting COVID. Like, I'm scared. And he goes, do you think it's a reaction from the flu shot? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Of course it's a reaction from the flu shot. I wasn't even thinking about it. It never occurred to me that that's what it would be. And so I finished working my shift, and I drove home. And on the way home, my eyes were hurting so bad. I got home, I started Googling it and looking it up, trying to find some evidence-based, articles on it. And I found several peer-reviewed articles about it. One was from the World Health Organization, a couple from reputable sites. And there was actually in Canada several years ago, this happened. It was this, I had a reaction that's a known reaction, an adverse reaction that can happen. And it happened to like a whole lot of, like a whole batch of the flu shot one year in Canada. And it was like women, it was mostly, not all, but it mostly happened to women in their 40s, like 40s and 50s. And I forget if there was another statistic, but there was a few things that I was just like, gosh, I'm like the poster child for this. Like I literally filled in all the boxes. And then it's like, it resolves within 48 hours. So it was gone within 48 hours. It left but it was a respiratory, I forget there's a name for it, but it's like respiratory something. It scared the crap out of me because I was like, is it going to get worse? Or is this, and as bad as it got was what I just described. And so it wasn't, obviously it was fine. There was no permanent damage or anything, but it scared me. Just the reality hit me in the face that something could happen. And I didn't know if it was going to get worse. So it kind of gave me pause about it. Like, I'm just like, I feel like, I don't know, it made it real, I guess, the fact that you could have a reaction. And Guillain-Barré, it obviously affected my nervous system. There was something nerve involvement with my eye pain. And so it just made it real, and it scared me, and it made me think, okay, am I going to get the vaccine? Because my son had COVID in August. Symptomatic, he had full-blown COVID, and it went through our house, and he was the only one that got it. And I feel like I've been exposed to it. I've taken care of COVID patients, and for whatever reason, either I've had it and got over it, and maybe I have an immunity to it now. I don't know, but I've tested negative several times because I have to go get tested every time I have an exposure. We've had several people on CVICU that are working with COVID. They didn't know it, but they were literally working with COVID. And then I was just like, oh crap, I was in there helping that person. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you guys doing routine testing, or is it just when you have a suspected exposure?
It's if you haven't expected, like when Levi, of course, was had it, I had to get tested, and then a coworker, like, oh, you guys were working, you guys were helping to clean a patient up, and now they're like out with COVID, so you got to get tested and that kind of thing. I'm just like, gosh, every time I turn around, it makes me wonder if I need to get it. Is it that important that I get it? Should I maybe wait it out on this one? I don't know. I'm just scared. I'm just being honest with you guys.
No, and we want that honesty because this is scary stuff. It's scary
Absolutely.
on both sides. And I definitely recognize that my paradigm of things is based on the fact that I've not had one of those reactions. And, when we go through these things, we're told the risks, but we always assume, yeah, that's a risk, but really they are. I prefer the list of risks that are in the package that can be treated with meds in the refrigerator on every unit, as opposed to, like I'm not saying this casually. I'm not like, I'd rather have anaphylaxis than COVID, but I kind of almost would, because we know how to treat anaphylaxis.
Yeah, but we don't know how to treat Guillain-Barré.
That's true. And
have you ever had a Guillain-Barré patient? Because I have.
Many.
I know. And they're, PCU, because I worked on PCU. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's quite, and we have patients that have a lot of neuromuscular disorders, a lot of autoimmune stuff. So yes, I recognize how terrifying that is. I still, for whatever reason in my psyche, I still feel like I want this vaccine.
Yeah.
But we're all entitled to our opinions, and we need to develop our ethics and policies around this.
Yeah, stop it. Tina, you're gonna take the vaccine. We'll get you to take the vaccine. I'm kidding.
I will. I'm really scared, but I will.
But just to back up what you're saying is, it's so easy for us to talk about, these pharmaceutical companies, they fed us these opioids and kept on pushing it, right? Mm-hmm. But now all of a sudden they're Christmas, Santa Claus is bringing the vaccine. Fuck out of here. What are you talking about, right?
They have the money, they have the tools, and if the incentive is correct, even someone who maybe does not have an excellent sense of ethics will step up because they want their name on this shit. They want to go down in history. They want the government to buy millions and millions of doses.
Yes.
So I'm not claiming they're virtuous. I'm
Yeah,
just saying
I agree.
that they can be accurate.
Okay.
So,
And I'm with
fair,
it.
but I hear you.
Yes.
I don't expect them now to save the day. But if they get to save the world, they might still do it, you know?
Yeah, they will also lie and withhold information that they know to be true from their own research.
Mm-hmm. Which is
they will
why
deliberately,
which is why we need to push to see research, to have our legislators paying attention to this. For people on the front line, we got to put nurses into more and more spots where they're making these policies and doing these studies and reviewing these studies.
Yeah, no. If we get one of them CEOs, Dr. Fauci, to sit in the chair, get the vaccine, I'm like, all right, give it to me next if I see one of them get it. But let me see one of them get it.
We put our lives in people's hands every day. You trust that when you turn your car on, that ignition's going to not explode. When you go into public transportation, you trust that that bus driver's not going to drive off a bridge. To me, risk is relative. And in this case, like for me, you know, I look at the post-COVID patients that are recovering, and I'm sending them off to skilled nursing because they can't even get out of bed and they can't breathe without a vent. And that shit scares me more than, you know, just about anything. But I also have an advanced directive that is very detailed and very out. I think I feel like when you're 18, you register to vote. I don't know if dudes still have to register with like the draft or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing, but I think everybody should also have an advanced directive, because if you're able to sign a legal contract, you should be able to say what happens to your body if you become really hurt or really sick. So
absolutely. And just before we even wrap up, like I think Tina is onto something too. And I think we have to understand, and I guess this is where we really want to talk about the science, because I think it's really important to us as healthcare providers to make sure that we are following the science. But the thing is, there's going to be people that are going to be like, I'm afraid, I don't want to get it, or tell me a little bit more about this. And I think it'll be so important for us to be trailblazers in saying, well, here's the science, and not just here's the science from the pharmaceutical company, but here's the science from this independent study or this RCT. I think it'll be so important for us to continue to say, well, here's what the evidence is saying, and really to inform our decisions based on science, not just on feelings.
And remember, evidence-based practice are SMART goals, if you remember that from school.
Oh, God.
That these studies need to be repeatable. It can't just be like, well, we did it once and it worked and we like the result. It's like these things are rigorous. They can be independently reviewed and tested.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
We'll know more as time goes on, but I completely agree with you, Amie. We need to be the ones that are educating people, not just at the bedside, but our families, our loved ones, our social media accounts. So,
well, people look to us, right? People look to nurses.
Absolutely.
We are trusted more than physicians, so we need to be out there and be like, this is right, this is not right. Like we need to get out there and spread the word.
And we need to be supporting each other. Yeah.
Trusted more than physicians.
That should be a trademarked phrase.
Trusted more than physicians.
Isn't like the Johnson, you know, I hate to call Johnson & Johnson out, but their catchphrase is like trusted by physicians or something like that. So we can be the more trusted.
More trusted.
So before we wrap up, because I know we got things to do, we are going to do this again. I thought this was a trial run, but I think this is ready to drop. So
I agree.
But let's before we figure out all that, let's talk about where people can find each of your podcasts and how they get in contact with you, and if they can drop you a buck or two somewhere on your socials. Yeah, so let's go. Let's do the double deckers first. Gritty Nurses, you want to talk about your stuff?
Yeah. You can always find us. Just Google Gritty Nurse, and you'll find us. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. We're on social media as well, so we're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And we also have our apparel line, which you can see here. So you can find that at grittinurse.com. We are having lots of sales going on, so make sure you sign up for a mailing list. And if you have a suggestion for a topic, we're always open to that. And we would happy to be on your podcast or have people come onto ours.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah,
Tina.
Oh,
sorry. No, Q. You go.
I
I
like
keep
to
going to
jump
Tina
in.
because
No, that's all
her
right.
screen
That's
is to
all
the
right.
right of me.
So like mine is super easy. Just cue the nurse. You can find me on Instagram. The rest, I'll be guest hosting some of these guys' podcasts. that's my.
Q, have you been on Good Nurse, Bad Nurse more than once?
Oh yes, a couple.
Oh, we got to check the tally, Tina. We got to see. But Tina, you may have had more guest spots with him than me, so I got to work on that.
But yeah, that's me. Love y'all.
Right, excellent. And Tina, Good Nurse, Bad Nurse. You guys are on fire at Good Nurse, Bad Nurse. You guys are killing it, doing great.
Thank you. You can find us at goodnursebadnurse.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Good Nurse, Bad Nurse, and I think Facebook for some weird reason is GNBN Podcast. I don't remember why that was when we first started, but mainly goodnursebadnurse.com, our website. Our episodes are on there, and our Patreon account is on there, and we have some bonus material there. People can, I think it's like $3 a month or something like that, and we're working on developing a study guide for nursing students and nurses who are getting certified that we're going to put behind the Patreon wall as well. So
nice. Excellent.
Tina, you're my hero. Yeah,
Tina, you brought us all together. We've all been on your podcast, actually.
Nice. Yeah.
Come back. I need you back.
This community is important. And of course, I am Nursing Uncensored. I'm the one dropping all the curse words. Not all. We have a lot of clean episodes. We're not all not safe for work, but much of it is, because it's real life, man.
Right.
But I'm at nursing. I would say we, me and my plethora of guest hosts here at nursinguncensored.com. We have the ability for you to donate on the website. You can buy me a coffee if you just want to donate a few dollars. Patreon is in the works, but my gosh, creating extra content on top of my weekly show is just a lot. So someday I'll have a Patreon, but until then, hit me up at nursinguncensored.com, and you can also see all the vlogs. I need to write like a little commercial or something, because I always just go, there's vlog stuff. But it's a great site. I put a lot of time into it, so please go check it out. So thank you everyone for being here. This is awesome.
We need to have a name too. Like, I mean, if we're gonna do this, let's say we do once a month, we need to have a name. Maybe we should ask people who listen to give us a name, or like, if you guys have any ideas for a name?
Naming contest.
I like that.
Naming contest. What do you want this to be called?
So you guys got to message us. You got to find us on one of our socials. You got to send us, and then when we regroup, we will bring back all of our listener suggestions for a name for this collective roundtable gang of mischievous thieves. I don't know. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I think that's it. Are we done?
Yeah,
is this our first
episode?
It's
our first episode. Yeah.
Excellent. Q, go to bed.
Yeah, go to sleep. Oh my God, I can't believe it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.